June 6, 1944. 0730 hours, Omaha Beach. The water is red. Private Ingram Reeves drags himself through the surf. 22 years old, Iowa farm boy. Should be planting corn right now. Instead, he's crawling through hell with a 5-foot steel tube strapped to his back. German machine guns hammer the sand. The sound is like 1,000 typewriters clacking at once. Men scream. Men die. Men float face down in water that tastes like blood and gasoline. Reeves reaches the barbed wire. Triple rows, geometric precision. Every strand positioned to kill. He unslings the tube, hands shaking, pushes it under the lowest wire. Fingers fumble for the friction igniter. Pulls. Click. The fuse has failed. Reeves stares at the tube. 32 years of engineering, 13 pounds of steel and explosive. Useless. A burst of machine gun fire stitches across his back. Ingram Reeves, age 22, falls forward onto the tube he cannot make work. The screen freezes on his face, eyes still open, still hoping, cut to black. A voice speaks, old, weathered, but clear. I was 22 years old, didn't know what a Bangalore torpedo was until November 1943. The voice belongs to an old man, not Reeves, someone who survived. Didn't know it would save my life, didn't know it would cost my friend his. November 1943. Camp Edwards, Massachusetts. Snow falls on frozen ground. Barracks line up in perfect rows. Smoke rises from chimneys. Somewhere a radio plays Glenn Miller. Ingram Reeves steps off the transport truck. Duffel bag over one shoulder. Boots too new. Uniform too clean. Face too young. Iowa is flat. Massachusetts has hills. Iowa smells like soil and diesel. Massachusetts smells like ocean and gun oil. He's been in the Army 14 months, basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, infantry school at Fort Benning, never fired a shot in anger, never seen a dead man. That's about to change. A sergeant barks orders. 30 men form up in the snow. Engineers, combat engineers. They volunteered for this, every single one. Volunteered for dangerous duty. Higher pay, better rations, shorter life expectancy. Most don't know that last part yet. Lieutenant Wendell Thatcher appears. 26 years old, Yale engineering graduate, tall, thin, hands that tremble slightly when he thinks no one's looking. He walks the line of men, studies each face, stops at Reeves.
You the Iowa farm boy?
Yes, sir.
Can you swim?
Not well, sir. Thatcher nods, writes something on his clipboard. Follow me. They walk to a supply shed. Inside, wooden crates are stacked floor to ceiling. Each crate stenciled M1A1 Bangalore torpedo, U.S. Army Ordnance DPT. Thatcher opens one crate, pulls out a steel tube, 5 feet long, 2 inches diameter, painted olive drab, looks like plumbing. This was invented 31 years ago by a British captain in India. Know what he was trying to solve? No, sir. Booby traps left over from old wars, killing soldiers and civilians years after the fighting stopped. He needed a way to destroy obstacles from a distance. Thatcher hefts the tube, 13 pounds. 5 feet of steel, 9 pounds of amatol explosive, 80% ammonium nitrate, 20% TNT. Screw sections together. Push it under the obstacle, light the fuse, run like hell. He sets it down. The metal clangs on concrete. It clears barbed wire, detonates mines, blows a passage 3 to 4 meters wide. Thatcher looks at Reeves. It also has a 50% failure rate in wet conditions, and the men who carry it suffer 50% casualties. Silence. Snow falls outside. The wind rattles the shed door. Still want in? Thatcher asks. Reeves looks at the tube, looks at the lieutenant, looks at his own hands, farmer's hands, used to fixing things. Yes, sir. Thatcher almost smiles. Good, because someone has to go first. The training begins the next morning. November darkness. 4 a.m. freezing rain. 30 men stand in a muddy field. Each holds a section of Bangalore torpedo. Thatcher walks the line with a stopwatch. Connect the sections, spring clips, feel them snap. You'll be doing this in the dark with numb fingers while people shoot at you. Faster. Click, click, click. Reeves's fingers are already numb. The clips are stiff. New metal, not broken in. Assembly time matters. Every second you're exposed is another second you die. Faster. By noon, Reeves can assemble 5 sections in 40 seconds. By sunset, 30 seconds. By midnight, 23 seconds. In total darkness, with gloves on, his fingers bleed. Everyone's fingers bleed. December brings lectures. Thatcher stands at a chalkboard, draws diagrams, technical specifications, historical context. The inventor was Captain Alistair Brennan, Royal Engineers. Stationed in Bangalore, India, 1912, the weapon took his posting's name. He draws a trench. Obstacles, tiny stick figures. World War I, Western Front, 1918, wire entanglements hundreds of yards deep. Soldiers would cut wire by hand, one strand at a time, exposed for minutes, easy targets. Chalk scratches on board. The Bangalore changed that. Push it from a shell hole. Detonate remotely. Instant breach. A soldier raises his hand. Corporal Huxley Brennan. No relation to the inventor. Just coincidence. Good kid. Boston accent. 24 years old. Mechanic before the war. Sir, why don't we just use artillery? Artillery craters the ground, creates new obstacles, alerts the enemy. The Bangalore is quiet until it's not, and it blows laterally, not down. Shreds wire without digging holes. He taps the chalkboard. Simple, modular, effective. The US Army adopted it in 1914, improved it in 1943. Now we've produced 3,255,000 units. Someone whistles. That's a lot of tubes, sir. That's a lot of obstacles. January 1944. The intelligence briefings begin. A major from G2 pins photographs to a board. Aerial reconnaissance taken from 10,000 feet. The French coast, Normandy. Gentlemen, meet the Atlantic Wall. The photos show beaches, but not normal beaches. These are fortresses, concrete bunkers, steel obstacles, wire, miles and miles of wire. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel inspected these defenses in November. He understood that once we establish a beachhead, our air superiority will prevent German counterattack. Therefore, the battle must be won or lost on the beaches themselves. The major points to different sections of photo. Hedgehogs, welded steel beams, rip the bottoms from landing craft. Belgian gates, 10 feet high, block vehicle passage, tetrahedra, concrete pyramids with steel spikes. He moves to another photo. Close-up of wire obstacles. And protecting all of this. Multiple rows of barbed wire, concertina coils, double apron entanglements, each strand positioned with geometric precision. Machine gun nests cover every meter with interlocking fields of fire. Reeves studies the photos, counts the rows, 6, 7, 8 rows deep in some places. The Germans studied World War I failures. They designed these entanglements specifically to defeat cutting tools and explosive charges. Double apron fences use diagonal wires that spring back when cut. Concertina coils are staked at intervals that prevent soldiers from simply crawling under. He lets that sink in. As of January, over 500,000 beach obstacles are in place along the invasion coast, and they're adding more every day. Thatcher speaks up. "And our solution, Major?" The Major looks at him. "Your Bangalore torpedoes, Lieutenant, and the men willing to carry them." February, they ship to England. Slapton Sands, Devon coast, chosen because it resembles Normandy beach conditions. Cold, wet, miserable. The drills become brutal. Dawn, dusk, midnight. 3 a.m. Assemble the torpedo, connect sections, push it forward, Insert the blasting cap, attach the fuse, retreat to minimum safe distance, 20 yards, prone, behind the device, detonate, thunder, wire shreds apart. Again, faster. They do it in waist-deep water. They do it with smoke obscuring vision. They do it with sergeants firing blanks over their heads. Reeves and Huxley Brennan become a team. Huxley carries spare sections. Reeves does the assembly and placement. They move like clockwork. Thatcher times them. 16 seconds from start to detonation. Best time I've seen. Huxley grins, Irish face, freckles, always smiling. We're gonna make it, Reeves, you and me. We're gonna blow Hitler's wall to hell and be home by Christmas. Reeves doesn't reply, just nods. He's learned not to make promises about the future. Late February, 3 days before Exercise Fabius, evening. Reeves sits on his bunk, cleaning his rifle. Huxley works at a small table, tools spread out. Concentration on his face. What you doing, Hux? Insurance policy. Reeves looks over. Huxley holds his dog tags and a small metal cylinder, friction igniter, spare. Regulations say no backups, Reeves says. Regulations don't carry the tube into machine gun fire. Huxley uses thin wire, attaches the igniter to his dog tag chain. Careful, precise, mechanic's hands. There. If something happens to me, you take these. The igniter's good. Tested it myself. Nothing's gonna happen to you. Huxley looks at him, still smiling, but something different in his eyes. Just in case, farm boy. He tucks the tags back under his shirt. The spare igniter, invisible against his chest. Reeves goes back to cleaning his rifle, doesn't think about it again, until later. Exercise Fabius, late April. The full dress rehearsal. 3,000 men, 30 landing craft, live ammunition, naval gunfire support. Supposed to be realistic. It's too realistic. Reeves and Huxley hit the beach at dawn, water up to their chests, Bangalore sections heavy, waves pushing them sideways. Naval destroyers hammer the beach with 5-inch guns. Smoke everywhere, can't see 10 yards. They reach the practice obstacle. Wire fence. Huxley feeds sections to Reeves. Reeves connects them. Smooth, fast. 16 seconds. Reeves inserts the fuse, starts to pull back. That's when the naval gunfire walks short. The explosion is white light and pressure. Reeves is thrown 10 feet, lands hard, ears ringing, can't hear anything. He sits up, looks for Huxley. Huxley Brennan, age 24, Boston mechanic, is scattered across 30 yards of English beach. Friendly fire happens in war, happens in training too. Reeves kneels in the surf, finds Huxley's dog tags in the debris, chain broken, one tag bent. Something else catches his eye. The spare igniter, still attached to the chain. Huxley's insurance policy, against regulations, against orders. But Huxley never followed rules. Reeves understands now why Huxley attached it. Not for himself, for whoever came after, for the mission. He puts the tags in his pocket, feels the weight of the igniter against his chest. Thatcher finds him there, helps him stand. I'm sorry, Reeves. Reeves doesn't speak. Can't speak. I'll assign you a new partner. Reeves shakes his head. No, sir. You need a number 2 man. Solo is faster, sir. Thatcher looks at him for a long moment. At this 22-year-old kid who just watched his friend die. Okay, Solo. That night, Reeves lies in his bunk, can't sleep. He pulls out Huxley's dog tags, examines the spare igniter in lamplight. Small, simple, civilian model, probably from Huxley's mechanic days. Tested, reliable, against regulations. Reeves should turn it in, should follow protocol. Instead, he tucks it back in his pocket, carries Huxley with him. May, the final month. They move to staging areas near Portsmouth. Tents, barbed wire, armed guards. No one leaves, no phone calls. No mail out. They're locked in now, committed. Brigadier General Norman Grafton arrives to inspect the troops. 48 years old, lean, weathered, eyes that have seen too much and remember everything. He walks the lines of engineers, stops at Reeves. "What's your name, Private?" "Reeves, sir. Ingram Reeves." "Where you from?" "Iowa, sir." Grafton nods. "I saw this weapon work 26 years ago. France. Meuse-Argonne offensive, October 1918. Bangalore torpedo blew a breach in German wire. My platoon went through. 19 of us made it. The engineer who placed that torpedo didn't." He looks directly at Reeves. "His name was Corporal James Whitmore, 23 years old. Kentucky coal miner. He knew the odds. Went anyway. You honor that legacy, Private." "Yes, sir." Grafton moves on. Reeves stands at attention, heart pounding, hands steady. He touches the dog tags in his pocket, feels the spare igniter. He understands now. This isn't about the tube, it's about the men willing to carry it, and the friends who make sure they have what they need, even after death. Late May, Thatcher gathers his team for a final briefing. Maps spread on a table, aerial photos, beach obstacles circled in red. The British have developed alternatives: Churchill AVRE tanks, petard mortars, Sherman crabs with mine flails. They're mechanizing obstacle clearance because Dieppe taught them that infantry-delivered explosives cost too many lives. He points to casualty figures. Dieppe, August 1942, 85% casualties among engineers. Of 71 assault sappers who landed, only 10 returned to England. Someone swears softly. The Americans are taking a different approach. "We're keeping the Bangalore as standard equipment. Our commanders believe infantry portable explosives offer flexibility that vehicles cannot match. A man with a Bangalore can reach places tanks cannot go." He looks around the room. "We're betting on you. Not on machines, on you." Silence. Reeves studies the maps, finds Vierville Draw, the beach exit, the obstacles marked in red ink. His target. "Questions?" Thatcher asks. Reeves raises his hand. "Sir, what's the fuse failure rate in salt water?" Thatcher's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. 15%, Reeves, maybe higher. "And if the fuse fails?" "Then you fix it or die trying. There's no backup." Reeves's hand moves unconsciously to his pocket, touches the dog tags, the spare igniter Huxley left him. There is a backup. Huxley made sure of it, but Reeves says nothing, just nods. That night, he can't sleep, lies in his bunk, stares at the ceiling, pulls out the dog tags one more time, studies the igniter in darkness.
Huxley's last gift, against regulations, against orders, but perfectly in character, just in case, farm boy. Reeves smiles slightly. "Thanks, Hux."
He tucks them away. Tomorrow they sail. June 1st, they move to the marshalling areas. Sealed camps, no communication with the outside world. Men write last letters, play cards, clean weapons, check equipment. Reeves disassembles and reassembles his Bangalore sections 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, muscle memory. When the moment comes, his hands will know what to do, even if his brain freezes. Thatcher finds him after midnight. "Can't sleep either?" "No, sir." They sit on ammunition crates, share a cigarette. Neither of them smokes normally, but tonight feels different. "I have tremors in my hands. Had them since I was a kid. Yale professors said I'd never make it as an engineer. Too unsteady." He holds out his hand. It shakes, barely noticeable, but there. "That's why I'm not carrying the tube." "You are. Steadiest hands I've ever seen, Reeves." Reeves looks at his own hands, farmer's hands, scarred from barbed wire and tools. "They're not steady, sir. Not inside." "Inside doesn't matter. Only what shows outside. They sit in silence. Above them, stars. England's stars. Different from Iowa's, somehow. "We're going to open that wall," Thatcher says. Reeves wants to believe him. Almost does. June 5th. The briefing everyone's been waiting for. General Grafton stands before 200 men. Behind him, a massive map. The coast of France. 5 beaches marked: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, Sword. "Gentlemen, tomorrow we invade Fortress Europe," he points to Omaha Beach. "This is the most heavily defended sector. Rommel's best troops, strongest fortifications. The Navy will bombard it, the Air Force will bomb it, but in the end it comes down to you. Infantry, engineers, the men who will actually set foot on that sand." He pauses. "Height hour is 0630, low tide. We're landing at low tide to expose German obstacles. You'll have 20 to 30 minutes to clear them before the tide rises. If you fail, the tanks can't land. If the tanks can't land, we lose the beach. If we lose Omaha, we might lose the entire invasion." He lets that weight settle. First men on the beach will die. That's statistical certainty. Second wave succeeds because first wave dies. You are the first wave. No one moves. No one speaks. "Do your duty. That's all anyone can ask." Grafton steps down from the platform, walks among the men, stops at Reeves. "Your ancestor fight in the Civil War, Private?" "Yes, sir." "Antietam." "Mine too. 14th Connecticut. They held the bridge, took 80% casualties, but they held." He puts a hand on Reeves's shoulder. "Tomorrow, you hold. Understood?" "Yes, sir." Grafton moves on. Reeves sits down. Hands shaking now, not Thatcher's tremors, fear tremors, the honest kind. Around him, men write letters, pray, cry quietly where no one can see. Reeves pulls out the dog tags one more time, rubs his thumb over the bent metal. "Over the spare igniter. We're going to make it, Reeves, you and me. Not both of us, Hux, but maybe the mission somewhere. A chaplain gives blessing to whoever wants it somewhere. Dice rattle in a last poker game. Somewhere someone vomits. Fear or seasickness, or both." Reeves doesn't write letters. His mother can't read well anyway. Instead, he checks his Bangalore sections one final time. 10 sections, 50 feet total, enough to reach the Vierville draw wire, if he makes it that far, if the fuse works, if it doesn't. He has Huxley's backup. Either way, he's ready. 2,300 hours. Someone shouts outside. "Weather's turning! Invasion's off!" Relief washes through the barracks. Men laugh, cry. Thank God. 0400. June 6th. "Get up! It's on! Move, move, move!" No relief now, no more time. Reeves shoulders his pack, picks up the Bangalore sections, 13 pounds per section, 65 pounds total. He's carrying his own death weight. They file out into darkness, rain falling, wind howling. The landing craft wait in the harbour, dark shapes on darker water. Reeves climbs aboard. 30 men in this boat. He looks at the faces around him, wonders who will live, wonders if he's one of them. The diesel engines roar. The boat pushes away from shore. England fades behind them. France waits ahead. And between the two, the cold black channel, and beyond that, the obstacle belt. Reeves touches the dog tags one last time, feels the spare igniter, just in case, farm boy. Then he closes his eyes and tries to remember what Iowa smells like. He can't. All he smells now is salt water and diesel and fear. The crossing has begun. The English Channel is not supposed to be this rough. Reeves stands in the landing craft, and 30 men packed shoulder to shoulder, steel hull, no seats, just wet metal and the smell of vomit. 0430, still dark. Rain drives horizontal across the deck. The boat rises, drops, rises again. Diesel engines scream. Water crashes over the ramp. Men's faces are green in the dim light. Someone pukes, then another. The smell is immediate, everywhere. Reeves grips the Bangalore sections, 5 tubes, tied together, 65 pounds, his lifeline, his death sentence. Hard to tell which. Thatcher stands near the ramp, clipboard somehow still dry under his jacket, face calm, hands shaking worse than usual. A soldier next to Reeves speaks, kid from Tennessee, 18 years old, hasn't shaved yet. Baby fat still in his cheeks. How far to the beach? 12 miles. How long? 3 hours, maybe 4 in this weather. The kid nods, goes quiet, grips his rifle like it's the only solid thing in the world. Above them, darkness. Below them, cold, black water. Ahead of them, obstacles. Reeves shifts his weight, feels the dog tags in his pocket, Huxley's insurance policy, the spare igniter Huxley attached. Against regulations, for exactly this situation. If the primary fuse fails, Reeves has backup. Not supposed to, but Huxley never cared much about supposed to. Reeves smiles slightly in the darkness. Thanks, Hux. 0500 hours. The Navy destroyers open fire. The sound is beyond thunder. Beyond anything Reeves has heard. 14-inch guns, 5-inch guns, rockets, all hurling steel at the French coast. Orange flashes light the horizon, distant, like heat lightning on an Iowa summer night. Except this lightning is meant to kill. That's our bombardment, Thatcher shouts over the noise, softening them up. A sergeant laughs, bitter. Rommel's bunkers are 12 feet of reinforced concrete. Navy guns won't scratch them. Thatcher doesn't argue. The Tennessee kid leans over the side, vomits again. Nothing left but bile. Reeves watches the flashes, counts them, loses count. Too many. The entire coastline is burning. Good, someone mutters. Hope we killed every last one of them. But Reeves knows better. The Germans are in bunkers, underground, waiting for boats like this one. 0545 light begins to creep into the eastern sky. Grey, ugly, stormlight. The boat pitches violently. A wave crashes over the bow. 3 feet of water sloshes across the deck. Men bail with helmets. Useless. More water comes in. The Tennessee kid is crying now. Quiet, ashamed. But crying. No one says anything. Half of them are crying too. Reeves closes his eyes, thinks of Huxley Brennan. Grinning. Always grinning. We're gonna make it, Reeves. You and me. Reeves touches the tags in his pocket again. Feels the spare igniter through wet fabric. You already made it, Hux. You made sure I have what I need. Now it's my turn. 0600. They're close enough to see the coast now. Dark line between grey water and grey sky. The naval bombardment stops. Sudden silence. Just engines and waves and men breathing. Air Force's turn, Thatcher says. Right on cue. The bombers come. B17 ears. B24 ears. Hundreds of them. Flying fortresses. The sound of their engines drowns out the sea. They pass overhead. Beautiful. Terrible. Wings glinting in dawn light. The bombs fall. From this distance they look like rain. Black rain falling on France. Explosions blossom. Fire and smoke. The entire beach disappears behind a curtain of destruction. Men cheer, slap each other's backs. Maybe this won't be so bad. Maybe the bombs killed them all, but the sergeant shakes his head. They're bombing too far inland, missing the beach defenses. He's right, Reeves can see it. The bomb pattern is wrong, landing 200 yards behind the beach. 300 yards, the fortifications are untouched. The cheering dies, the Tennessee kid stops crying, starts praying instead, lips moving, no sound. 0615, a Navy radio man climbs down from the cockpit, face white. He finds Thatcher, whispers something. Thatcher's face doesn't change, but his hands stop shaking, go completely still, the way hands do when the news is very bad. He gathers the engineers. DD tanks are sinking. Silence. How many? Someone asks. 27 out of 29. More silence. The DD tanks were supposed to land first, provide covering fire, shields for the infantry, armor to break through obstacles. Now they're on the bottom of the English Channel. We're going in alone, Thatcher says. Just us and the infantry. No armor support. A voice from the back. That's suicide. Thatcher looks at the man. Yes. He doesn't elaborate, doesn't need to. Reeves checks his Bangalore sections again. Hands moving automatically. Connect, disconnect, connect. Muscle memory. Touches the dog tags in his pocket one more time. Primary fuse. And if that fails, Huxley's back up. When the time comes, his hands will know what to do, even if his brain is screaming. 0625. The beach is visible now, half a mile away. Reeves can see the obstacles, hedgehogs, Belgian gates. Tetrahedra, exactly like the reconnaissance photos, except worse, because now they're real. And behind them, the wire obstacles, coils and coils of steel, glinting in the dawn, beautiful in a way, geometric, precise, German engineering at its finest. The bunkers sit above the beach, concrete, camouflaged, machine gun slits like dead eyes. Nothing moves, no fire, no sound. Why aren't they shooting? The Tennessee kid asks. Waiting, Reeves says. For what? For us to get closer. The kid's face drains of color. Goes back to praying. Thatcher moves down the line of men, checks equipment, adjusts straps, puts his hand on shoulders. He reaches Reeves. You ready? No, sir. Thatcher almost smiles. Good. Means you're thinking straight. He pauses. Remember the drill. Assemble, position, detonate. Don't think, just do. Yes, sir. And Reeves, if I go down, you complete the mission. Understood? Yes, sir. Thatcher moves on. Reeves shifts the Bangalore sections on his back. Feels their weight. Thinks about the spare igniter in his pocket. Huxley knew. Somehow knew this moment would come. Prepared for it, even in death. That's friendship. That's brotherhood. Reeves will not waste it. 0628. 2 minutes to H hour. The coxswain shouts from the cockpit. Sandbar! We're hitting a sandbar! The boat lurches, grinds to a halt. 100 yards from shore. 100 yards of open water. The lieutenant in charge runs forward. Back off. Get us closer. Can't, sir. We're stuck. Men look at each other. 100 yards, 6 feet deep, with full packs. The lieutenant makes a decision. Drop the ramp. Sir, we're too far. Drop the ramp. Metal groans. The ramp falls, and the Germans open fire. The sound is indescribable. Machine guns, mortars, artillery, all at once. The man at the front of the ramp is cut in half before he can jump. The second man makes it into the water, disappears. Too much weight. Drowns in 6 feet of water 20 yards from the boat. The third man is hit in the air, falls, red mist. Go, go, go! Someone screams. Men push forward, no choice, trapped in a steel box with bullets punching through the sides. The Tennessee kid jumps. Reeves loses sight of him in the chaos. Reeves's turn. He clutches the Bangalore sections, steps to the edge. Water below, bullets above, fire everywhere. He jumps. The cold is shocking. Complete. He goes under. 65 pounds of Bangalore pulls him down. His boots touch sand. He pushes up, breaks surface, gasps. Something hits the water next to him. Mortar, explosion, pressure wave. He's thrown sideways, ears ringing, can't hear. Men thrashing in the water, drowning, dying. Some hit, some just weighted down. Reeves sees Thatcher. 20 yards away, wading, leg bleeding but still moving. A soldier floats past, face down, pack holding him underwater. The Tennessee kid, eyes still open. Baby face, peaceful now. Reeves wants to help, can't, has to move. The beach is 50 yards away, might as well be 50 miles. He wades forward, water up to his chest. Bangalore sections like an anchor. Bullets zip past. Some hit water, little geysers. Some hit men, different sound. Wet thud. Another body bumps into him. Sergeant, who said the Navy wouldn't scratch the bunkers. He was right. Didn't matter. Reeves pushes past. Has to keep moving. For Huxley, for the mission, for the men who come after. 0635. Reeves reaches the sand. Falls flat. Crawls. Bullets snap overhead. Constant. Like angry hornets. The beach is chaos. Bodies. Parts of bodies. Equipment. Burning vehicles. Men screaming. Men silent. Smoke everywhere. Can't see 10 yards. Reeves drags himself forward. Bangalore sections, scraping sand. Heavy, so heavy. An explosion to his left. Artillery. Sand rains down. He keeps crawling. The seawall is ahead. 30 yards. 20. 10. He reaches it. Collapses. Can't breathe. Can't think. Can't hear anything but ringing. Other men pile up against the wall. Pinned. Trapped. Machine gun fire stitches the sand 6 inches from Reeves's head. He presses himself against the concrete, makes himself small, counts survivors. 30 men left the boat. 11 reached the seawall. 19 dead in 3 minutes. The Tennessee kid among them, 18 years old, never graduated high school, never kissed a girl, never had a chance. Reeves closes his eyes, sees the kid's face.
Praying in the boat. Prayers didn't help. Nothing helped except luck. And Reeves just ran out of his share. 0645. Men huddle against the wall, soaked, shaking. Some wounded, all terrified. Medics work on the injured, morphine, bandages, prayers that might work better here than in the boat. Thatcher is here, leg wound, tourniquet applied. Face white but functioning. He crawls to Reeves. You okay? Reeves nods. Can't speak yet. Bangalore intact. Reeves looks.
Counts sections. 4 out of 5 survived. 1 lost in the water. 4 sections. 20 feet. Should be enough. Good. We're going to need it. 0700. More boats land. More men die. More bodies in the surf. The beach is a killing ground. Officers shout orders no one can hear. No one moves. To move is to die. To stay is to die slower. Reeves looks over the seawall, 40 yards away. The WWII draw. The vehicle exit. The way inland and blocking it. Wire obstacles. Triple rows, 8 feet high. Concertina coils, barbed strands. Every German improvement from 30 years of warfare, machine gun nests on both sides, perfect fields of fire. Anyone approaching will be cut down. But if those obstacles stay, tanks can't pass, vehicles can't pass. The invasion stops here. Reeves looks at his Bangalore sections, 20 feet of steel and explosive against 8 feet of wire and 2 machine gun nests. The math doesn't work, but there's no choice. And he has Huxley's backup, just in case. He touches the dog tags in his pocket one more time, feels the spare igniter. Ready. 0720. A figure runs low along the seawall, tall, lean, stars on his helmet. Brigadier General Norman Grafton. Men stare. A general on the beach under fire. Grafton drops next to Thatcher. Lieutenant status. Pinned, sir. Wire obstacle at WWII draw. 2 MG nests covering. Grafton looks over the wall, studies the barrier, the nests, the geometry of death. We need that exit open. Entire invasion depends on vehicles moving inland. Yes, sir. Grafton looks at the survivors, counts, evaluates. His eyes stop on Reeves. on the Bangalore sections. You're the torpedo man. Not a question, a statement. Yes, sir. Grafton moves closer, looks directly into his eyes. Can you reach that wire? Reeves does the math. 40 yards crawling, under 2 machine guns, 4 sections, 20 feet. Enough to push under the barrier, if he makes it that far. If the fuse works. If it doesn't, Huxley's back up. I can try, sir. Grafton nods slowly. Son, I saw this weapon work 26 years ago, saved my life, saved my platoon. The engineer who placed it didn't survive. But we did. 19 men walked through the breach he blew. He pauses. Today, if you blow that wire, thousands walk through. Thousands. You understand? Yes, sir. Good. Grafton looks at Thatcher. Lieutenant, can you support him? Thatcher looks at his leg wound, blood soaking through the tourniquet. I can provide covering fire, sir. Can't walk. That'll do. Grafton looks back at Reeves. Wait for my signal. I'm gathering every man who can still shoot. We'll suppress those nests. You make your run fast. Don't stop. Assemble. Place. Detonate. Clear. Clear, sir. Grafton almost smiles. Do your duty, Private. He moves off, gathering men, organizing, suppressing fire. Reeves checks the Bangalore sections one more time. 4 sections, spring clips, fuse assembly, friction igniter, everything intact, and in his pocket, Huxley's gift, the spare igniter that shouldn't exist, but does. Because Huxley understood, some rules are meant to be broken. When lives depend on it. 0728. Grafton has 20 men with rifles, ready. Thatcher has his carbine. Braced against the seawall, leg useless but arms work fine. Reeves lies flat. Bangalore sections tied together. 4 sections. 20 feet, weighs 52 pounds now. Everything he needs to blow the obstacle. If he gets there, he touches the dog tags one final time. Just in case, farm boy. I got it, Hux. Whatever happens, I got it. Grafton raises his hand. 20 rifles ready. 1 hand falls. 20 rifles fire. Go! Thatcher shouts. Reeves rises, grabs the Bangalore, and runs toward the wire, toward the machine guns. Toward the only gap between England and Germany. His boots hit sand, his heart hammers, his mind goes blank, and his hands remember what to do, because that's what training is for. When thinking stops, and doing is all that's left. 40 yards, 30, 20, bullets everywhere, men shooting, men dying, men watching, and one farm boy from Iowa, carrying 52 pounds of British engineering toward Hitler's Atlantic Wall. The next 60 seconds will determine everything. 10 yards. Reeves hits the ground. The suppressing fire stops. 20 rifles empty. Men reload. The German machine guns resume. Bullets chew the sand around him. Inches away, centimeters, he crawls. Bangalore sections drag behind him. 52 pounds. Might as well be 500. Sand in his mouth, his eyes, his lungs. 5 yards. The wire looms above him, triple rows. Concertina coils catching morning light. Beautiful, deadly. 3 yards. A bullet hits the Bangalore. Sparks. Metal screaming. The tube holds. German engineering meets British engineering. Steel versus steel. 1 yard. He reaches the base of the obstacle. Lies flat. Breathing hard. Heart trying to punch through his ribs. The machine guns are searching for him. Traversing left, right. Waiting for him to move. His hands start working. No thought, just training. 4 sections already connected. Push them under the lowest wire strand. The nose cone catches. He adjusts, pushes harder. Metal scrapes on metal. 5 feet under. 10 feet. 15. The tube extends into the wire obstacle, threading through the coils like a steel serpent. 20 feet. Full extension. The tube is positioned. Now the fuse. Reeves pulls out the blasting cap assembly. Hands shaking. Not Thatcher's tremor, fear tremor. He inserts the cap into the base section, connects the friction igniter, standard M1A1 design, pull the cord, chemical reaction, 8-second delay, detonate, simple, unless it fails. 15% failure rate in wet conditions. His hands are soaked, the tube is soaked, everything is soaked. He grips the igniter cord, says a prayer, pulls, click. A tiny sound, barely audible over gunfire. He waits, counts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nothing, the fuse is dead. Reeves stares at the tube, everything he trained for, everything he crawled 40 yards to accomplish. Useless, the barrier stands, the machine guns wait. The invasion stops here, unless he fixes it. His hands move to the igniter housing, tries to access the firing mechanism. Salt water, sand, corrosion. The primer is dead. He needs a new igniter, and he has one. His hand moves to his chest pocket, pulls out the dog tags, Huxley's dog tags. Bent, corroded, chain broken, and still attached. The spare friction igniter, Huxley's insurance policy, against regulations. For exactly this moment, Reeves's hands stop shaking. Thank you, Hux. That's when the machine gun finds him, MG42, the German buzzsaw, 1,200 rounds per minute. The burst walks up his body, left leg, hip, lower back, shoulder. White, hot pain. He falls forward, face in sand, hands still gripping the dog tags. Can't move, can't breathe, can't think. Blood spreading, dark, mixing with wet sand. His vision tunnels, grey edges, closing in. He's dying. Knows it, but his hand still holds the spare igniter, Huxley's gift. He tries to reach the tube, can't. Arm won't work. The igniter slips from his fingers, falls on the sand, 6 inches from the Bangalore, might as well be 6 miles. He can hear shouting, far away, through the ringing in his ears. Someone running, boots on sand getting closer. Lieutenant Wendell Thatcher crawls on a broken leg. Not runs, can't run, leg won't hold, but can drag himself. From the seawall, 40 yards, elbows and one good leg, blood trail in the sand behind him. Under machine gun fire, every foot is agony. The tourniquet has failed, blood pours from the wound. He doesn't care. He sees Reeves, down, not moving, blood pooling. He sees the Bangalore, positioned, unfired. He knows what that means. The fuse failed, just like he warned. 15%. Reeves drew the unlucky number. Thatcher reaches him, drops flat next to the body. Bullets snap overhead. Constant. The German sea movement. Concentrate fire. Reeves, no answer. Thatcher rolls him over, checks vitals, breathing, barely. 4 wounds, all bad. Maybe minutes left, maybe less. Reeves, can you hear me? Eyes flutter open, unfocused, struggling. Fuse, Reeves whispers, blood on his lips. Failed. I know, I'm going to fix it. Thatcher examines the igniter housing. Corroded, dead, no question. He checks his pockets, no spare. Against regulations. He followed regulations. Reeves followed Huxley, then Thatcher sees it, on the sand. 6 inches from Reeves's hand, dog tags, and attached to them, a spare friction igniter. Thatcher picks them up, stares. Huxley Brennan, O positive, Catholic. And the spare igniter, civilian model, against regulations, against orders, but perfectly functional. Thatcher's hands stop shaking. For the first time in his life, completely steady. You magnificent bastard, he whispers. He doesn't know if he's talking to Reeves or Huxley or both. Doesn't matter. He disconnects the failed igniter, installs Huxley's spare. Hands moving like a surgeon. precise, calm. The connection clicks home. "Reeves, I'm going to pull this. You need to move back with me." Reeves doesn't respond, eyes closed, breathing shallow. Thatcher grabs his collar, starts dragging him, one-handed, his leg useless. Reeves' dead weight, 5 yards, 10, machine gun fire intensifies. They know what's happening, trying to stop it. 15 yards, Thatcher's leg gives out. Collapses, both men in a heap, still too close. Minimum safe distance is 20 yards. They've made 15. Close enough, has to be. Thatcher reaches back, grabs the igniter cord, looks at Reeves. One more time. "This one's for Huxley." Pulls. Click. The sound is perfect. 8 seconds. Thatcher covers Reeves with his own body. Counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The explosion is thunder and light. 52 pounds of amatol detonates simultaneously. The blast wave travels laterally, exactly as designed. Wire shreds, metal fragments fly, concertina coils torn apart. The sound echoes off bunkers, off water, off the morning sky. When the smoke clears, a breach exists, 4 meters wide, right through the center of the WWII draw wire obstacle. The first penetration of the Atlantic Wall at Omaha Beach, blown open by a British invention from 1912, carried by an Iowa farm boy who died doing it, completed by a Yale engineer who wouldn't quit, finished with a spare igniter from a Boston mechanic who broke the rules. The breach is open, but no one moves. 0736. Men at the seawall stare at the opening, smoke drifting, wire shredded, path clear. The first man who goes through will die. Everyone knows it. Machine gun nest still active, just waiting. First man through draws fire, dies. Second man might make it, might. No one volunteers, can't blame them. They've seen enough death. Then Brigadier General Norman Grafton stands up. 48 years old, stars on his helmet, target on his back. He doesn't run toward the breach. He walks, upright, steady, rifle in hand. Machine guns open fire. A round tears his sleeve. Another sparks off his helmet. He staggers, nearly falls, recovers, keeps walking, not untouched, not blessed, just refusing to stop. Men watch, mouths open. The general reaches the opening, stops, turns, looks back at 200 men huddled against the seawall. "Follow me!" 2 words, that's all. A soldier runs forward, hits the breach, machine gun burst, cuts him down. He falls dead. In the opening, Reeves blew. No one else moves. Grafton turns back, steps over the body, keeps walking, into the breach. Through the breach, beyond the breach, machine guns hammer at him. A bullet clips his leg, another his shoulder. He stumbles, doesn't fall. Providence, luck, divine intervention. Or just the iron will of a man who refuses to die. He reaches the other side, alive, turns again. "Now!" And they come. Not one, not 2, dozens, hundreds, pouring through the opening like water through a broken dam. Some die, machine guns still firing, but most make it. They spread out beyond the barrier, find cover, return fire, suppress the bunkers. The Atlantic Wall is breached. 0800. The beach is still hell, but it's survivable hell now. More landing craft. More men, more equipment, engineers blow more openings, 4 total by noon. But the first breach, the WWII draw breach, that's where the vehicles go. Tanks, trucks, jeeps, bulldozers, all pass through the opening Reeves created. By 1800 hours, Omaha Beach is secure. 2,400 American casualties. The bloodiest day in American military history since Antietam. Naval Combat Demolition Units, 31 killed, 60 wounded, of 175 men. 52% casualties, exactly as predicted. Gap assault teams using Bangalore torpedoes. 50% casualties. The math was always clear. The mission required it. They paid the price. The medics find Reeves at 0745. Still alive. Barely. 4 bullet wounds. Massive blood loss. Shock. They work on him. Plasma, morphine, bandages. He opens his eyes once. Sees Thatcher. sitting nearby, leg wrapped, face grey. "Did it work?" Reeves whispers. Thatcher nods. "It worked. You opened the wall." Reeves tries to smile. Can't quite manage it. "Huxley's igniter?" "Yes." "Tell him. Thanks." "I will." Reeves's eyes close. His breathing slows. He sees faces. His mother. Hanging laundry in Iowa sun. Huxley. Grinning, always grinning. The Tennessee kid. 18. Praying in the boat. All the boys who went first. Waiting for him now. "Coming," Reeves whispers. At 0751, Private Ingram Reeves, age 22, Iowa, dies on Omaha Beach. The medics keep working for another minute, then stop, cover him with a blanket, move to the next wounded man. There are always more. Posthumous Silver Star for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidation in action. The medal arrives at his mother's farm 3 months later. She can't read the citation, but she understands what it means. Her son died first, so others could live. She hangs it above the fireplace, next to his photograph, 22 years old, smiling. In uniform, Iowa farm boy who saved an invasion, Lieutenant Wendell Thatcher survives. Leg wound, shrapnel, infection, 6 months in hospital, Bronze Star with valor. Honorable discharge, January 1945, returns to Yale, completes engineering degree, never practices engineering, becomes a teacher instead. High school physics, teaches for 43 years, never marries, never talks about the war, except once a year, June 6th, when he visits Normandy. Brigadier General Norman Grafton leads the advance inland, survives the war, Distinguished Service Cross for actions at Omaha Beach, retires 1952, dies 1978. Buried at Arlington, his grave marker mentions Normandy, doesn't mention the walk through the breach, the 2 words that changed everything. Follow me. Some acts of courage are too big for stone markers. By 1800 hours, June 6th, every vehicle moving inland passes through Reeves's breach. 1st Sherman tank, 1820 hours, 73 tanks total by midnight, 216 supply trucks. 41 ambulances carrying wounded, 12,000 men, all through 4 meters of space that cost one Iowa farm boy everything, and saved an entire invasion. The gap that changed the war. The Bangalore torpedo continues serving. Korea, 1950, Heartbreak Ridge, Pork Chop Hill. Chinese defensive positions, wire obstacles, same solution, same weapon, same casualties. Yom Kippur War, 1973, Golan Heights, Israeli combat engineers, Syrian fortifications, Bangalore torpedoes blow breaches, tanks follow through, defensive line collapses, Afghanistan 2001, Taliban supply caches, IED-laden barriers, SEALs and Rangers, same steel tubes, same technique. Iraq 2003, Fallujah, urban combat, barricades and wire. Marines employ M1A3 variant, aluminum construction, lighter, faster, still the same basic design. Captain Alistair Brennan would recognize it. Ukraine, 2023, Russian defensive belts, multiple layers, wire and mines. Ukrainian combat engineers receive American aid packages, including Bangalore torpedoes, 112 years after invention. Still in production, still no replacement, still no better solution, May 1945. Huxley Brennan's mother receives a letter from Lieutenant Thatcher explaining how her son died. Exercise Fabius. Friendly fire, instant, no pain. The letter is kind, gentle, true. Then Thatcher adds a postscript. Your son saved the invasion. He violated regulations by carrying a spare igniter. Attached it to his dog tags, gave those tags to his friend. When the moment came, when everything failed, that spare igniter worked, the wire was blown, the beach was opened.
Thousands of men walked through that breach because your son didn't follow the rules, because he cared more about his friend than regulations. I thought you should know. Mrs. Brennan frames the letter, hangs it in her kitchen. Boston Row House, overlooking the harbor, where she can see it every day. Her son, rule breaker, hero, 2024. Normandy American Cemetery. 9,388 white marble crosses, arranged in perfect rows.
Overlooking the beach, a car pulls up, late afternoon, June 5th. One day before the 80th anniversary, an old man emerges, wheelchair, attendant helping, Lieutenant Wendell Thatcher, 102 years old, hands still shake, always have, always will. But today they're steady enough. He wheels to Section D, Row 18, Grave 23. The marker is simple. Ingram Reeves, Private U.S. Army, 1922 to 1944. Thatcher sits for a long time. The attendant waits. Used to this. Every year, same grave. Finally, Thatcher speaks. Still teaching Reeves. 43 years of it. Taught thousands of kids, physics, engineering, math. He pauses. Never told them about you. Couldn't find the words. How do you explain? A boy who carried death to save life. A friend who gave him the tool to finish. A general who proved courage is contagious. Wind blows across the cemetery. Gentle. Warm. They still use it. The Bangalore saw it on the news. Ukraine. Some young engineer, probably 22, just like you, crawling through mud with that tube, blowing wire, opening breaches. Thatcher reaches into his pocket, pulls out 2 dog tags, bent, corroded, chain broken. Huxley Brennan, O positive, Catholic, and still attached. A friction igniter, rusty, inert, but present. Kept these, 80 years, thought about burying them with you, decided against it. You'd want them working, not resting. He sets them on the grave marker. But today, I'm too old to carry them anymore, so they're yours now. You and Huxley, together again? The attendant touches his shoulder, gently. Sir, we should go. Storm coming. Thatcher nods, but doesn't move yet. People ask me, why do we still use such an old weapon? Primitive, dangerous, suicidal to deploy. He looks at the grave. I tell them this, simple tools, brave men. You don't improve on that combination. You honor it. Thunder rumbles, distant. The attendant wheels him back toward the car, halfway there. Thatcher stops, turns. One last look. 9,388 crosses. Boys who became men, who became memory. Thank you, Reeves, he says quietly, for going first. The wheelchair moves on. Rain begins to fall. Gentle, like tears. On 9,388 graves. And on 2 dog tags with a bent friction igniter, resting where they belong, with the boy who needed them. On the day that mattered most, the Bangalore torpedo remains in active service with 32 militaries worldwide, over 15 million units produced since 1914. Captain Alistair Brennan invented it to save lives. Private Ingram Reeves died proving it could. Lieutenant Wendell Thatcher lived to remember why it mattered. Brigadier General Norman Grafton showed that weapons are nothing without the will to use them. And Corporal Huxley Brennan broke one regulation, to save one friend, who opened one breach, that saved one invasion, that saved one continent. Simple tools, brave men, 112 years, and counting.